Hello, everyone.
Good afternoon, everyone.
My name is Pablo Marte, and this is my beautiful wife,
Mariceli Malte.
and we are Power
Our
Marriage.
marriage. Not because we are yet.
No, let's make that perfectly clear. We're
We're
not a power
not
marriage.
at all.
No, no, no,
No,
no.
I mean we have our flaws, we have our imperfections, we have our things that everybody else has.
Yeah. We've been married actually, today will be 30 days that we're married. So we just want to make this video and tell you how to have a perfect marriage, okay? No,
Oh
we
no.
I thought that was funny. I heard
Yeah.
that today. Our pastor
Pastor.
at church, he said that somebody, I guess, wrote a marriage. They've been married 30 days, and they wrote a marriage blog about how to have the perfect marriage. And he said, at 30 days, any marriage can survive to
Oh
30 days.
yeah.
It seems perfect up to then.
Thought that
No,
was
we're
funny. Yeah.
we're technically
Six it's gonna be six
February,
years this year.
yeah, March, April, yeah.
Oh,
So
April.
in like a
Well,
month and a half, right? Like a month and a
yeah,
half, it'll
we
be
kind of known each other 6 years because we kind of started dating in February,
and got married in
in
April.
April.
Yeah, so I mean, well, in April it'll be 6 years that we've
Mm-hmm.
been married,
Yep.
and the purpose or the reason of this video is to let you know that we're real people. We were married.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I'm sure the first 30 days of being married was awesome.
Was it? I don't
It felt
remember.
like it was like I think so.
Yeah.
It was like amazing, yeah, because we didn't have a fight I think till like almost like 6 months or something, and that's from like when we met to like 6 months later
Yeah.
because we met in February, we got married in April, so yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Then the kids went off on vacation, or they came to Rochester to visit, and that's when we started like, woo.
Yeah, we're like, well,
Oof.
now it's just you and me alone. What are
We
we gonna
couldn't.
do?
We didn't even know each
Uh,
other. We didn't know how to talk to each other, how to
yeah,
even communicate with each other. So the only thing I knew how to do was, wow, press his buttons. That was not nice.
no, that wasn't nice. Yeah, you're not that nice.
No, sometimes I can be mean, but
You're pretty, but not nice.
uh, yeah, well, it's a process. It's I've been changed 6 years. It's taken 6 years. I think when we really truly started learning what a marriage was what 2 years or 2.5 years ago.
Something, maybe not even. I
Yeah.
think last week I was learning what a marriage actually is.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a process, like she said. I mean, it has been over a year for sure. I mean, maybe yeah. I think it'll be
Yeah.
like 2 years soon. Uh, well, I don't know why it says there my story, but by reading books, things like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Marriage That Works. This is by Chip Ingram.
Awesome book.
I mean, and we've read. I mean, the first book that I read about marriage was the Francis
Francis
Chan.
Chan. Yeah.
What was it?
You
Together
and
Forever.
me
You and Me
forever.
Forever. Yeah, You and Me Forever. Great marriage book. I mean, and reading and learning about marriage is how we were able to make our marriage work and how to
Mm-hmm.
make it better.
Yeah.
And it's been a process. I mean, it's not just I don't just sit down quietly for like 5 minutes and then get up and say, "Oh, I got a great idea. Our marriage is going to work now. This is how it's going to work." No, it's actually by learning from people that have great marriages, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't want to learn how to lose weight by somebody who's 400 pounds bigger than me. Um, so the same, you don't want to learn or do what a follow the steps of marriage steps, right, from a
Mm-hmm.
couple that is fighting all the time or that they can't get along.
They never grow. It's always the same thing. It's always the same story. So we had to learn to um, not model that, but to say, okay, how can we practice, or how can we have a Christ centered marriage? And I want to say that even before the process of us working with each other, we implemented reading the word, even though we didn't know what the word was doing in our marriage, because he was not a Christ follower, but he was reading the word with me. And we did it for about a year before anything started changing in our lives. But we didn't realize that the word was actually changing who we are
Mm-hmm.
today. It changed who he is, it changed me. Instead of me saying, well, God changed my husband, No, you know what?
I think you did a lot of that in the beginning, right?
I sure did in the beginning. I was
I
like,
was hoping the same thing.
change him, Lord.
I was like, this, I don't
I
know.
can't do this. You got to change him who he is.
There was a
I'm
couple of times
perfect.
where remember we lost the marriage certificate because
Oh yeah.
I kept reviewing it, just reading all the fine print, making sure
Yeah.
if there was like a 30-day or
Uh-huh. It's like
3-year
return
policy record.
policy.
Yeah,
Like change him because I'm perfect. I don't do anything wrong. Yeah, that was.
I thought the same thing, like just problem is her.
Hmm.
I
And
still think you.
and it's hard because a lot of marriage think that way.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly in marriage, right? Because this is about marriage, but
Hmm.
mostly in everything. And the main purpose of this video, so we're gonna try and keep it in there, right?
Yeah.
Is about that we try to be genuine, we try to be real here for you guys. The reason why we're making this is to let you know that if you're having problems in your marriage, that you know you're probably like everybody else. That's 99% of the marriages out there, right? In our case,
Hmm.
how are we real? Well, I mean, we get up every day and we have jobs. I got a job. You got a
Hmm.
job.
Yep.
We go to work. We have 2 dogs here in the house, and those dogs, they need to go outside. They need
Hmm.
to go for their walks, and otherwise they go crazy.
We have
And
to eat. We have to cook. We have to clean.
you peel potatoes.
Yep.
Whenever we want to cook some potatoes, we peel potatoes. Sometimes you leave a little bit of the skin when you make some home
Hmm.
fries,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Those are good. But technically, right, we do. I mean, when we're feeling sick, right, we make some soup. Right,
Yeah.
just
When I was
posted a picture of
sick.
some delicious soup there.
Yeah. And I was sick for that whole week. Oof,
Right,
that was
and
not fun.
it's
You
good
were
to have a
sick for
little.
2 weeks, so.
Yeah, yeah. Well, mostly for like a week, I
Hmm.
was like sick. I was still like stuffy and whatever for the next week, but I didn't have no fever, I didn't have no pains, uh, stuff like
But
maybe a little sniffles
but
there going on.
we're human beings. We're normal. We're just like
Yeah,
everyone
I take a
else.
vitamin pill every day, right? Well,
I tried to.
I take a fish oil pill. I take a
Hmm.
multivitamin. I would take in vitamin D as
Hmm.
well. We take a calcium pill, right? I think that
Yeah.
was more for you, but I like them because it's a little chewy. It's like caramel
Caramel.
chewy.
Yep.
Oh, so good. Uh, but yeah, I mean, so that's normal. That's we're not trying to portray anything that we're not. I mean, we're normal folks, and
Yeah. And our.
we've learned how
Hmm.
to uh, do better for our marriage, and we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah. Sometimes even our schedule now is hard sometimes because we don't see each other as much, and then Saturday is so packed with certain things that we feel like, oh my gosh, it could be overwhelming, and we could lose ourselves in the process as well. We could lose who we are, or we could lose the marriage as well because Monday through Friday we're so busy that sometimes I forget, oh, I had to share this with Paolo, or I forgot to do this with Paolo, or I forgot I got to mention this. Then when Saturday and Sunday come, we're so overwhelmed with the week
Hmm.
that.
Just an
Mm-hmm.
example. I mean, again, because we're being real, and it's what we do.
Yeah.
This week, right, we have my insurance went up. What was it, like $40?
Yeah.
And we're saying, well, why did the insurance go up $40?
Mm-hmm.
And it's there. And again, we really didn't take time to sit down and look at it.
No,
So
we didn't.
yesterday, I had to take, felt like an hour, maybe even a little more, right? If
Mm-hmm.
I had to go into online, have the online thing. I had to open up the policy and see exactly what's covered, how much they're charging for it.
Yeah.
Obviously it's full coverage, and I had to go through all the just to know what everything is that is being covered. I mean, that's normal. I mean, that's something that you would have to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're thinking about, well, then I might need to get different insurance, right? I gotta get something that gives me good coverage, but that I can pay less, right? Because another thing that is real is we also have a budget, right? We
Yeah.
work,
We work.
we,
Mm-hmm.
all right, we're not rich, so we have to work. We have to budget our money, what we have as an income,
Mm-hmm.
and and see where everything goes, and we have to set aside some money. And again, it's not like we have a lot left over. We're not,
Mm-hmm.
we don't earn a lot. Um, Even with that, what we've done and what we try to do, and even being that we have different schedules, we still read the Bible every day.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because that has helped our marriage, and it's going to continue to help
I
our
agree.
marriage. And maybe that has helped more than reading one of these books. Now, again, these marriage books are great because they, especially like this one, right? It uses biblical principles and applies it and gives you good ideas and how. But your marriage is unique. Your marriage is your own.
Yeah.
Why is it unique? Because you're married like everybody else, but both of you as individuals are also unique. You each have your talents that you have. So, if you learn how to bring your talents out and work on your talents, and develop your talents. No matter how good you are in your talent, you need to develop it and become better at it.
Yeah.
And if you can grow, which is right, the gifts of the spirit, if you can grow, find your gift of the spirit and learn to grow it and work on it, right? Then you're also going to, as she's doing that, that's bringing up the marriage, right? As I'm doing that, that's bringing up the marriage as well. We have different schedules, so we each have to do that. And then on Saturdays is a little constrained because we, among other things, right, like working on the insurance and figuring out how everything is, and
We gotta clean. We gotta do this. We gotta see the kids sometimes. Or somebody invites us somewhere. We have to. We have some type of I don't know, commitment. So yeah, it feels like, whoa, what happened? You know, it's Sunday already, and we didn't do anything. That's what it feels like to me sometimes. And now with like budget, you know, like right now we are in this apartment, and the house that we have in Florida is twice as big as this. And the electric bill came in, and I'm like, what? $300 for what?
for the
We
heat.
we barely turn on our heat here, you know, so we're cold. We gotta
always
wear
cold.
gloves. You gotta wear your boots when you come into my apartment.
Maybe not gloves,
Yeah,
but
and
it's
head
cold. It
on.
feels like we have to wear gloves in here and scarves.
So when the bill came for $300, I'm like, what? Our home over there in Florida is twice as big as this, and we never paid more than $200. So yeah, those are the things that we are still learning here, and it's not easy when you see that, and you're like, okay, there goes our savings, you know, because we gotta take out to put for that.
It's real life problems.
Yeah,
It's
and
just real life because
it's-
we're real life people.
and this month again, well, like you said, hey, it went on $20. So yeah, we gotta now for next year we gotta work so that way next year if we see that type of bill, we are ready for that. We weren't ready for this.
And again, like normal people, we right away we're thinking, all right, well, we're looking different areas to see, you know, where if we can move that would be beneficial to us and to our budget, again for our family, so that we can, you know, just lighten the load a little bit.
We
You know,
have two dogs, so it's hard too because we have big dogs that a lot of people might not like, or they might see them and they're like, oh, we don't like that type of dog. But yeah, it's reality of it. It brings strain into the marriage. If we're not working together, we could actually start, you know, being distant. You know, we could create conflict with each other. We might not think about it. We could start becoming selfish, and we have to be very careful with that as well.
yeah. So we take our time. Again, we were talking about earlier. Again, just real life problems, right? How our shifts, our schedule is different throughout the week. So we pretty much see each other Saturday and Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, I get home, I go to sleep, and I mean, you know, 3 hours later, she gets up to go to work. So it's, you know, we miss each other there. And then, you know, when I leave, she's probably on her way home. So again, we miss each other there. So we only get to see each other on the weekends, you know. And then again, I get out pretty late. So even Saturday mornings, you know, I'm sleeping a little later because it's my schedule. It's you know what. Again, I'm pretty much active in the evening, you know, because that's what my schedule is at work. So it's just, you know, we have to be intentional. And it's something that we were talking about today. Again, real conversations that we have about being intentional, about making sure that we do get to catch up on Saturdays and Sundays and have this time. Like just right before we made this video, we're sitting down and we're talking like, hey, we you know, we have to continue sitting down and talking. And we've been doing other things as well. You know, I mean, we joined a small group as well, again, like normal people,
Yeah.
because we want to grow and develop our spirits and be a part of the community, you
And
know.
learn from others and build relationships, you know.
Iron sharpens iron, and I mean, how do we learn and how do we apply what we learn? I mean, right, it's no good in me to read the Bible, right, and learn every single word in the Bible if I'm not applying it, and if I'm short-tempered with other people, or, you know, if I just yell at you or judge you based on what I read on a book. It's not about that, you know. I'm going to move the camera. Sorry about that, guys.
And one thing that I'm doing is, again, it's practice, ladies. You have to practice some of the stuff in the Word. I bought a book, And every Tuesday, have to wake up at 5 o'clock because my mentor wakes me up at 5 o'clock, or I wake her up. Either way, every Tuesday morning, I am reading with her this book. It's called The Excellent Wife. Why? Because there's so many things that, as wives, we tend to say or think, well, what is he doing while he's here at home? Is he managing his time? And we, as wives, we want to tell them what to do, and try to plan their day, even though it doesn't work that way. We can't do that. They have their own brain. So I have to learn to.
And her input is very important to me.
Yeah.
Let's just make that clear. Yeah.
Yes, but I'm not going to be there and say, hey, you got to do this because I tell you. No, we got to learn how to communicate and how to tell our husbands, hey, honey, can we sit down and this is what I feel. Not, well, but it depends, because I used to do that. I used to tell him in a mean way, this is what it is and there's no other way, and this is it. That's final. And I had to learn that I can't do that. There's ways of me seeing things in our marriage, and
I don't respond positively to
no,
that either.
yeah. He's the leader of our home. I've had to learn to, respect that, and how to learn to build my husband behind who I am as a woman as well. Because if I'm always going to be condescending and mean, then I'm not building anything here. So.
Yeah, and again, as Christians, we're called to submit to one another out of reverence for the Lord. And that's Ephesians chapter 5, verse 21. Yep. And 22 starts with, wives, submit to your husband. But if you read the preceding verse, it does say, submit to one another out of reverence for the Lord. And that's not what this video is about. Again, it's about being real. And what we learned today at church has something to do with that, where it says, we're reading 1 Peter chapter 3, starting at verse 8. And we'll do 8 or 9. It says, verse 8, finally, all of you, that's everybody, be like-minded, be sympathetic, love one another, be compassionate, and humble. Right? So that means in our interactions, we need to be that way, Do not repay evil with evil. This is verse 9. Do not repay evil with evil, or insult with insult.
Yeah.
On the contrary, repay evil with blessing. Because to this you were called, so that you may inherit a blessing. Right?
That's hard.
That's verse 9, yes. And that is hard, and that's what I was telling her earlier. I mean, especially us when we used to fight. I mean, even yesterday, right? We felt, for a moment yesterday in the afternoon, we ran some errands, we were looking at some stuff, and when we were done, we came home, and you pretty much wanted to be left alone, right? You wanted to, and pretty much okay.
I got out my stuff, and I changed my clothes, and I went to the room, and I stood there all the afternoon. I didn't want to be bothered.
And right before that, she asked me, so what are we doing? What are we doing? So I just said, well, let me look at this so I can then, I like to plan more, right?
He fell asleep at the sofa.
I like to be spontaneous, just so you know, but I realize that being spontaneous, sometimes we don't get the things that we need to get done. We don't get them done because we're just being spontaneous. And we forget things, right? Like today, you wanted to have your vitamins at a certain time. You put them in a little Ziploc, and then you left them on the table. So we were out there, and we said, all right, well, now I felt like, should I get home earlier so she can have them before noon? So anyway, just things that happen. Again, normal, everyday things. And this video is going to be long talking about that. But the main thing...
we're being honest. It's what happened. And yesterday, was I feeling a little some type of way? I sure was. I didn't want to bother. I was like, ugh.
And to be honest, right, so how did I feel? I felt like insulted in a way, all right, why are you angry? I didn't do anything. But then she seemed a little short with me, so do I repay an insult, or feeling insulted, or feeling a certain way? Do I repay that the same way? I would have before. And then guess what? Then it would have led to a fight, right? It doesn't go anywhere. It's not productive. So I just calmed down for a little bit, and then I went over there, jumped on top of her, and said, hey, what's going on? I do want to do something together. I get it. I understand, but let's do something together anyway, How about I'm going to do this, and then a little bit we'll do that together. And you kind of were like, okay, and she realized she didn't want to feel that way, or she didn't want to be that way with me. But it's just a natural instinct of when you want to do something and things are not going your way, normally that happens. You know, it's just, and then the tendency is, if you feel insulted, you want to insult right back,
Yeah.
right? If you feel that an evil was done to you, you want to do the evil right back. And as a Christian, as what I learned in the Bible is to
Yeah, we
don't
gotta,
repay that with that, but repay it with something good.
we have to change our tendencies. We want to do the mean things, you know. So that's where the flesh wants to take over. And you know, I wanted to be alone yesterday, but thank goodness that he came and he kind of changed that a little bit. But still, today I wanted to talk about that, you know, because I don't want that to be the focus of our every weekend, because we're so busy Monday through Friday that Saturday and Sunday come and it's like, uh,
Yeah.
you know, I don't want our marriage either to fall into that pattern, or because we're by ourselves so much that when we're together, I don't want to feel like I'm by myself again, or that I'm doing things on my own, even though he's there, because we're so used to being alone during the week. So that's dangerous too. You know, that's one of the things that we talked about before the video. That we have to be very intentional that we do not fall into that pattern, because it's easy to be, you know, blinded, and boom, months come and we're like, oh my gosh, what happened?
Yeah. And just to make a point out of that, yesterday we were watching a movie and I heard something, but so it made me think what you're saying about being alone, right? Right at the beginning of the Bible, right? It says, it is not good for man to be alone. That's one of the first things that God said about man, right? Aside from, right, multiply, be fruitful. But he said, well, obviously he said that afterwards because he needed to have both of them there to be able to multiply and be fruitful. He needed the male and female. But he did say it's not good for man to be alone, and that's why he created a partner. And when we're alone, what we're watching in the movie was that sometimes people do like bad things out of loneliness, you know. And I mean, I just saw that as a truth, that, right? I mean, why does God say it is not good for man to be alone? Well, when you're lonely, you're probably going to do things that you probably shouldn't be doing, you know. Sometimes you may do things, not saying you are, but I'm just saying you may. And
You have to be
so,
careful.
so you have to be careful. Yeah, during the week, I wake up in the morning, you know, before I go to work, I'm reading and doing my things, and sometimes I'll do the dishes, like I tell her. So when she gets home, they're done. You know, like I try to do something in the house and something with my education where I'm learning as well. And then I got to prepare and go to work. I got two dogs. I got to take them out as well for a little walk, and so they can handle their business. So it's just, you know, we all get busy, and we just got to make sure that we don't get busy and tangled up in doing what we do alone. That then when the weekend comes and we're together, that we don't want to be alone and just, you know, and again go against God's word, right? That's our human tendency, is that we want to do what we want to do.
Yes,
We don't
always.
want to do what is in the Bible because it feels like somebody's telling us what to do. But the thing is, God made us, and He made us for a purpose, and we are to praise Him and worship Him, and just, you know, return the love to Him, because He loves us so much. We need to return that love to Him as well. And
And to be
maybe
honest,
maybe we don't need to, but
uh-huh,
you know, don't turn it into religion. But
but
you
into,
should.
yes,
I mean, I feel like I should, and that's why I do it.
it's, and now that I'm thinking about our videos, Pablo was never the talkative person. He was always quiet. So I'm just thinking right now,
I'm still quiet.
no, he's talking more and more and more. So that's good that, you know, that is for male to hear other male hear certain things. You know, like you said, iron sharpens iron, and we're not the perfect couple, because we're not. We have our couple mentors we miss very much, and when we are going through something, I reach out to her. Hey, we need to talk right away. She knows if it's midnight. She knows she better respond right back to me, and I know that he does the same thing with his mentor.
Yeah, but I haven't reached out in a couple of, maybe like a week or something,
Ooh, so
to Esteban. So Esteban, if you're listening,
so you know, we are not perfect, but yes, it's
it's
something.
actually Steve. Okay,
Yeah.
trying to be funny here.
I know you are, but again, we're just like everybody else. We're not perfect. We don't try to be perfect. Do I make mistakes? Yes, every single day. Have I done mistakes? Yes. Um, but we are learning and we're growing from those mistakes.
That's it. It's
That's
long.
it.
It's a long
Yeah,
video.
it's a long video. This is the longest. We always try to make it less than 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I guess the message here would be, hopefully you get a good message out of it.
Yeah.
but be real, be genuine, be who you are,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, work on your marriage because it's not something that we said earlier. Right? It's not. I'm not gonna sit on the couch here and meditate for 5 minutes or for 5 hours and wake up and then be like, all right, that's it. My marriage is perfect.
Yeah.
No, I need to read those books. I need to read the Bible and apply and
Yeah.
learn not to things like not to pay an insult back with an insult. Right? I mean,
And be careful who you listen to. Who's giving you advice about your marriage? If
please.
it's somebody that's always talking negative about their spouse, that's the last person you should be listening to. That's the last person you should want to be, you know, hearing anything. And if they're saying love, 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 you got to be happy. You got to find love. And if you can't find love with your spouse, leave your spouse. That's wrong too.
Yeah, just not too long ago, somebody that that follows us put a post somewhere, and I read it, and I mean, I struggled for a minute about all these things I wanted to write and say, and then I'm like, maybe just I can't say anything. But the person was talking about how she was grateful that she finally got divorced, and then now she can move on with her life because she wasn't happy for all this time, and something about I think she said something about that her pastor told her she needs to be happy, and I was just like, ah. Just I that's not what I read, in the Bible.
Yeah.
That's not what I read.
Sad.
What I do read is, don't divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I read a couple of times about people suffering, and even in the beginning, even in Genesis, when people are suffering, right, and the angel of the Lord appears and says, God heard your cry, and He says, continue there where you are, even when people wanted to run away. I don't remember the exact names, but I know the story in Abraham and Sarah, right? He told the mistress, right? Go back and suffer.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. Submit yourself to the hand, even though you feel that you're being dealt harshly. I mean, but that's what it was. Suffer well, and in this life, we're all gonna suffer. Again, we don't become Christians and that's it. We don't suffer. We
go through things.
We don't become Christians and everybody's healed and not everybody gets healed. Everything is not hunky-dory after that, okay?
No.
But we learn and have Christ so that we can deal with these things. That's why we read the Bible. That's why we learn and follow the way, right?
And we find, even if you're going through things, try to have that joy in your life. I mean, what's the whole purpose of serving God if you're never going to have joy? Joy and peace are two different things. And, we could go through a lot of things, but if I'm not joyful, then it's going to affect who I am. It's going to affect my marriage. It's going to affect everything about my life. And it's hard to, like you said, I think I saw that post too, and it's hard. Because I wanted to say so. I don't know if I said something, but it's hard to see those type of comments sometimes, and it's like, what is it that people are teaching out there? What is godly and what's not godly? So
yeah, I guess we
Yeah.
should leave it at that, 'cause otherwise we'll keep
Continue
talking and that'll be an
going on,
hour
yeah.
video. And
no, we don't want that.
if you want an hour video, let us know. We'll gladly make an hour video, I guess.
I don't think so.
That's 'cause she likes to talk a lot.
No, you've been talking more. So, anyways,
All right, guys. Now I can eat this, right?
yeah.
Oh, I already ate it.
You ate it already, honey.
All right. Bye, guys.
Have a good one.